Full time at the London Stadium, West Ham United 2, Brighton 2. It's another point, but again, it feels like it's not enough for West Ham. A truly bonkers game of football, may I add, before I go any further. It was a bit nuts, to be totally honest, with penalties galore and more penalty claims everywhere. It was just a bonkers game of football, but it's not enough for West Ham at the end of the day. We need more, and we haven't got more. You know, when you look at two home games against Fulham and Brighton and a return of 1 point, it's not going to keep you up, is it? It's not going to keep you up with a 6.5 point gap between us and safety. It just feels insignificant for West Ham, and once again it just piles even more pressure on to that huge game on Saturday away at Wolves at Molineux. It just makes it monumental, doesn't it? I mean, Brighton dominated the first 10 minutes and then we scored it with it. Well, actually, they dominated the first 8 minutes, and then out of nowhere, a ball was played through, and we found Brighton napping at the back, and Bowen slots it away smartly to give the Hammers a lead that was out of nothing. Brighton had dominated, they looked on top, and all of a sudden it was 1-0 to West Ham. Then the flow of penalties began. The first one was a complete just catalogue and catastrophe of errors from West Ham. We had people. Fernandez went sliding and he took pops out, and then Kilman goes sliding in, sloppy and rash, clear as day, penalty slotted away from Danny Welbeck, 1-1. And then they get another penalty. Paqueta, stupid, starts rugby tackling a Brighton player to the floor. Penalty spot, ref spots it, another penalty. And then a Panenka follows. He tries to chip it. It just comes off the bar, and then there's pushing and shoving and yellow cards, and everything comes after that. And somehow at that point it was still 1-1. And then just before half time, West Ham get a penalty, and Lucas Paqueta slots it home. He does his little stutter, and he puts it away from a Dan Burn handball, and that was pretty conclusive, wasn't it? He basically forearms. It was a good save if he was a goalkeeper, but Dan Burn, not Dan Burn, Lewis Dunk. Sorry, Lewis Dunk is a centre half, and it was definitely Lewis Dunk who handballed it, gave West Ham the penalty. Paqueta put it away, and in a complete roller coaster of a first half, West Ham find themselves with a 2-1 lead. Going into the second half, we had the game once again. It was in our hands. We were 2-1 up. Brighton didn't look like too much of a threat. And then what happens? We let them back in 2-2. And then we sat deeper and deeper. And it felt like a matter of time. But we did hold on for that 2-2 draw. But a point at the end of the day doesn't cut the mustard for the situation that we are currently in, with a far inferior goal difference to the teams that we are trying to catch. Add another point on for that, and we are not accumulating enough points in these winnable games as we should. As I said at the top of the show, 1 point from these two home games is a disaster for West Ham. You know, there's no other way of putting it. It's a complete and utter car crash. And we needed more, and we haven't got more. And now these next two games, Wolves and Forest, 6 points. Anything less, we're down. Anything less, we're down. It feels like we're getting to the stage now where it's like final straw stuff. 6 points or call it a day, right? And there was a point tonight where I thought we were going to lose it, and then I'd have to call it a day then. But we need to beat Wolves, who I think are still holding on to a 1-1 draw and a point away at Old Trafford after nearly beating Arsenal and running Liverpool close last week. So Wolves are poor, but so are we. You know, there's no two ways about it. And then Forest have got a bit of fight, lost tonight, but it's two games in the space of 5 days coming up where it is non-negotiable that 6 points need to be returned. Otherwise, we can wave hello and wave goodbye to the Premier League and wave hello to the Championship, I'm afraid, because we simply have only got ourselves to blame. Games in the palm of our hand, chucked away. 2-1 lead today, chucked away. 2-0 lead at Bournemouth, chucked away. Leeds against Villa, chucked away, right? I can go on and on and on. It's just not good enough. It's really not good enough. And we have got ourselves into this position because we chucked away games against Leeds and Brentford in October, and we've lost games we shouldn't have, and we've surrendered leads that we shouldn't have surrendered. And this is the outcome. This is where we are now. Adrift from the teams above the relegation zone and not looking like winning football matches. That's the most concerning thing about it. We don't look like seeing out games. I don't have much confidence of us going to Molineux on Saturday and seeing out a 1-0 win. I just can't see it. We can't defend. Tadibo goes off with an injury. Paqueta had a dodgy back, so I mean, we've got to have some injuries at some point. We've been incredibly fortunate to not have any injuries really this season. To be fair, we've had a couple go off to AFCON, fine, but our squad is paper thin, and you saw that there with the amount of games we were playing. Tadibo went off with a niggle, Paqueta with a back problem, so injuries will inevitably come at some point between now and May. We've got to expect that, and that's where January and the window has got to come in, and we've got to bring some players in, but just not enough. Another opportunity missed for West Ham. Good evening to us all. Not enough. That was a must win. Not good enough again. Absolutely. Yeah, with the injuries as well. Souček did nothing. Honestly, our ball retention is awful. The amount of times that we lose possession and there's gaping holes in midfield and we give it away in just sloppy areas, just cheaply. It's just poor. Really, really poor. Good evening, Jake. Hope you are well. But yeah, I mean, and then we took the youth in right at the end as well. As a final throw of the dice, Mayers comes on and Conte come on in a highly intense and problematic and really important scenario. He's chucked youth players on, and I wasn't too sure about that. I'm all for getting youth involved, but there's a time and a place, and not when A, we were holding on, and B, we needed to win, to be totally honest. So that was a little bit bizarre. Let's have a look here. Football stinkers. To be honest, what Forest, Burnley, Leeds and Bournemouth do is irrelevant. We are simply not good enough and cannot finish games. If we don't beat Wolves, all hope is lost. It's as simple as that. I can't disagree with anything said there. It's absolutely bang on. It comes down to these two games. If it's not 6 points, then call it a day. I've got nothing else to say apart from that. That is literally the situation that we find ourselves in. Frog and well, thanks for joining us. Hope you are well. Bowen played well, and conveniently it was because he was on the right hand side. It's not difficult, is it? You get your best player in the right position, then he's gonna perform in a better way than chucked anywhere else. That's it and all about it, I'm afraid. And he chucked Paqueta and some of the front of points is never going to work when Wilson went off. But Wilson was blowing, and hopefully with Wilson only playing, what was it, an hour today, he can start on Saturday, hopefully, fingers crossed, because he did make an impact in the first half. The second half he tailed off because he'd quite clearly, done everything he could. He can play a decent half, my apologies. He can play a decent half of football, but that's pretty much his limit and his ceiling at the moment, Callum Wilson. So let's have Wilson for 45 minutes on Saturday, and hopefully he can cause enough damage to that Wolves back line to just get us a bit of headway and a bit of momentum. But yeah, it's another frustrating night for West Ham. It's an opportunity lost. It's another 2 points lost, and those games are beginning to run out, and the hope is beginning to wither. We need a new striker, absolutely. Hopefully he does start, absolutely. Better strategy with Wilson starting and moving Paqueta over later, but 2 months late, in my opinion, absolutely. Putting Bowen up front was just pointless and spineless, to be honest. I've watched Somerville live for Leeds. I've seen what he can do. I wanted him when we got him. I just can't quite understand what is going wrong. It's his final ball. It is just awful. Even tonight in the second half, he got himself into a position where I think Paqueta was at the back post and we broke away. And yeah, there was a couple of defenders there, but too lethargic and slow on the ball. He hasn't got that clinical cutting edge. Maybe it's confidence, but obviously his confidence is at rock bottom because he's not scoring, he's not assisting, he's not playing well. He doesn't look fluent. He looks, stagnant, and he's really struggling at the moment. I don't know how that changes. Strand Larson would be okay, but is he going to come? I'm not sure. Mandy, you are hi again. I hope you are well. We watch a game where we have zero options from the bench to improve on, and that's what's being our Achilles heel, because every team we play are bringing on substitutions and they're making a difference, and all we've got is youngsters, Souček, and then one other, whether it's Wilson to come on or Somerville to come on. That's the only subs that we've got that can maybe make an influential impact on the game. So it's another reason for us to be on the back foot. So we're on the back foot at the start because our players are crap, and then we're on the back foot in the second half because the opposition are bringing on fresh players, and we've got nobody to bring on, even more crap. So just so frustrating. We need at least one striker, a number 10 and a centre back. Mandy, we need a miracle is what we need. Yeah, he is he's just a bit too lethargic. I mean, Ariola was at fault. He was just, not strong enough, not commanding enough of his area from a corner. Absolutely. A World Cup winning squad would struggle at this club at the moment. Ollie Scholes was better tonight. Showed real character from the lad after everything that happened on Saturday. And you could see he was visibly emotional after his mistake that cost us the game against Fulham on Saturday. And I thought he was, calm, controlled, and he had some tricky customers over on that side. So I thought he handled it really well and showed supreme character. So hats off to Ollie Scholes tonight. Very good. Wolves want 40 million for Strand Larson, brings back very bad memories. Yeah, who have we signed from Wolves for 40 million? Not a certain Maximilian Kilman, who was again tonight just poor, isn't he? Just really poor. Uh, Absolutely. There was almost a mistake in this team from someone. Yeah, exactly. Tonight, Areola and Kilman. It will come elsewhere in other games, and there's always a mistake in this side because there's no confidence in it because we're not playing well. There's no fluidity and cohesion to our play. And then when we do make a change, no one really knows what they're doing, where they're going, how they're doing it. I want to know what they do on the training ground all week because they don't practice corners because we're crap at them. They don't practice throw-ins because we're crap at them. They don't practice free kicks because we haven't got a clue what we're doing from them. Showcased by that Potts free kick in the second half, the straight one where we lost it and nearly conceded. What a just car crash that was. I just beggars belief, doesn't it? It really does beg a belief, and I just am really beginning to struggle to see how on earth we are going to get ourselves out of this deep mess. We need to win the next three. We need to just pick up as many points as we possibly can. I'd say one game at a time, but we need to take it two games at a time. Wolves, Forest, 6 points, nothing else. I don't want to hear anything else at all. It's 6 points or bust for West Ham. He does overthink. That's the thing. He's a player that thrives off confidence, and when he has confidence, he doesn't overthink. He just does it. It's instinct, and he puts the ball in the box, or he has the shot, and he scores and he assists, and he does really good things. He's second guessing himself because in his brain he's not playing well, and he knows it, and he's reminding himself, and he just can't get any quality out, and that's so frustrating. Halfway through the season, 14 points. It's relegation form, isn't it? There's no other way of putting it. You can't paint it in any other way. It is relegation form, and we need a miracle to get out of it. We are going to get Adama Traore, and I think number 9 is a top priority for Nuno and the man behind it, or who shall not be named. Yeah, absolutely. Traore wouldn't surprise me. The Nuno connection and the connection of 3 players who have had their day in the Premier League. It just makes sense. It's going to happen, doesn't it? And hopefully we can rejuvenate an old and injury-prone Adama Traore. But I'll eat my humble pie again on that one, as I have with Wilson for a couple of games, and as I did with Craig Dawson and Jesse Lingard, and that list goes on. Yeah, Myers lacked a little bit of he just didn't quite settle, did he? He looked a little bit on edge, which you can't blame the lad with the situation that he came on with, and it was pretty difficult and pretty tough in that way. But look, there we are. Wolves held Man U, nearly held Arsenal. Have let in 3 more goals than us. Not holding my breath. Absolutely. I mean, I think at the moment it's quite a fair and even matchup, to be honest. And they run Liverpool quite close as well, I think. So they are, it's an even match. It's two bad. It's two really bad sides. Let's be honest. But they, at the moment, seem like the team that I know they've only got 3 points, but they seem like the team that are pushing the big boys closer. I know, we should have beaten Villa and we had them in a good position. Fine, but list those games there. Can you see us running Arsenal close and running that? I know we got a point in Man United, but they're just different at the moment, aren't they? But yeah, looking forward to Saturday. It depends how they set up, and the first goal there is absolutely crucial. And as somebody mentioned in the comments a little bit earlier on, there's always a mistake in us. That's what I feel. Just every single game, there's going to be some sort of mistake, whether it's Areola, whether it's Skulls, whether it's Kilman, whether it's Tadibo, whoever. There's a mistake in Paqueta. There's a mistake everywhere. Nathan Ake's turned us down, and you can't blame him. Hey ho. I'm feeling pretty deflated tonight, in case you haven't noticed. I'm just, yeah, really struggling with it, really struggling, and just hope that we can pull a rabbit out of a hat at Molineux on Saturday. But I will be there. We will have a preview on the way on Friday, I think. So preview then. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a really, really poor game, and I'm struggling to see how on earth we can see a game out. But there we are. From me, come on your own thoughts in the comment section down below. There'll be a reflection video tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you soon. Bye bye.